Hey, Natural Born Sisters! Welcome to another episode of Kinky in the Kitchen, where every swirl, curl, coil, and wave is celebrated. You'll hear inspiring stories from women who have left straight hair, wigs, and weaves behind, despite the discrimination and bias, to reclaim their power by rocking their natural hair. Be it spiraled, kinky, defined, or straight. Whether you're already a natural sister or still finding the courage to unleash your beautiful coils, you're not alone, and you're in the right place. Let's get to know your host. She's passionate about inspiring Black women to rock their natural hair with confidence, teaching our Black natural hair-wearing women how to show up despite hair discrimination and biases. She's natural like you and rocks her kinks in the kitchen loud and proud. She's Lisa E., aka Natural Born Sistah.
What's up, Natural Born Sistah? It's your girl Lisa E., aka Natural Born Sistah, aka Living My Best Life. Welcome to the Kinky in the Kitchen podcast, the show that highlights Black women who are rocking their natural hair with confidence despite discrimination and bias. So last week we talked about getting hair and hair product recommendations from the comments on social media and how I was so against it. It's just so weird even saying it. Like, how do you get comments recommendations? No. But you know, there's some people that mean well, which doesn't work well because we all have a mix of people that are just trying to either sell you a product or getting you to use a product. And that can eliminate being in your best interest. Now, the only people that can be in your best interest are those who will take the time to do so. Not just give you random advice because you may have a particular question about your hair. And I'm totally against product recommendation in the comments as well, because all of our hair is different and requires different products and ingredients. And it should be treated differently, not the same as others. I also recommend you seek a professional so that you're not at risk of your situation being worse than it is. So go back and listen to the episode on the suggestion I make as far as seeking this type of professional. Now, this week, we are talking tender-headed results of the creamy crack. Now, I remember the days of scalp scabs and patches, and I would sit there with a relaxer in my hair for at least an hour, sometimes burning, maybe most times burning. And my hairdresser would always ask, Lise, you okay? It was a way to make sure I wasn't burning, right? And I always remember saying, no, I'm fine. Why? For two, maybe three reasons. One, I wanted it to come out straight. So I felt that the longer I sat with it, the better and straighter my hair would come out. And two, I did not want to interfere with what my hairdresser was trying to accomplish for me. And three, maybe there wasn't a three. I'm not really sure, but I feel like there was a three. But if I could think of it during our time together, if it does exist, I'll mention it. I did not think that I was tender-headed, or maybe I did not want to be labeled as tender-headed because I didn't want anybody giving me an excuse of missing my monthly dose of the creamy crack. Nope. So whether I was or not, I did not know it, as it became easier for me as time went on. So I would go through the scalp and hair torture, and the results of that torture was scabs, redness, and super dried out scalp, in which it was a nesting ground for dandruff. But I continued to do this every 4 to 6 weeks, and it wasn't one of those things where you would not say, oh no, I got to get a touch up, because this was part of our life, and wanting to fit and continue to fit in, of not only getting a touch up because this was all according to European standards, but to also feel like we were more groomed than outside of our natural hair. Oh my God, the things I would see sitting in that salon and people coming in through the door with their hair all fucked up, like uncombed, holding packs of hair in their hands, and just to add to the mess they already had up there. No shade, because I was part of that clan too. But looking back on it now, it was fucking stupid. How we depend on unhealthy styling options because we thought we couldn't groom what we already have. You know what? I'm super happy to be out of that light. And with all the health issues going on with me now, I don't need it. And what purpose would it serve me or anyone to manipulate my hair due to standards? Are standards going to pay my hospital bills when I get sick from it? Are standards going to double my income? Pay my bills? There's nothing to figure out there because it ain't gonna do shit but lower my own standards. Now, picking scabs from my scalp, it felt normal. And although I knew this cannot be a good thing, me picking the scabs, on my scalp, and sometimes putting Vaseline on them to soften them so that I can pick them more easily. Like, just thinking about it and talking about it, I'm like, gross. But when I look back, that was some crazy shit. I have so many regrets. But how could I know? I started young. This started with my mother and grandmother from when I was much younger, before going to the salon myself. And all I did was just continue that story, never knowing that this story could have a greater ending, meaning embracing my own natural hair. So let's talk about the weirdest shit about this, okay? You would get relaxers, right? But then you will also get a weave. Now, this was the days before wigs really became popular among all ages. So if I was going in for a weave, right, so I can achieve a particular style, my hairdresser would relax my hair first, just for it to be covered with human hair. Now, I don't think this was a money game. I just think that this was a process that we thought had to be done. You had to get the creamy crack before you do anything else to your hair. Now, you look back and say, look, that was crazy. Because we didn't think of weaves as protected styles. It was just the alternative, like I said before, for styling. But as time went on, we realized you don't have to continue compromising your hair with chemicals only to cover it with someone else's hair, or like human hair. Okay, same thing, right? It's the same shit. But this proves that we were so uneducated about our hair that we had a long way to go. And I think we still do. And there are so many things being uncovered that help us to learn and then realize why the hell we did that in the first place, right? Well, I can come up with something that can explain a part of it. We were followers. Our own kind developed this creamy crack formula that all started in the 1900s. And you could even see men wearing a creamy crack in the streets back then, like Malcolm X and those who were around him. Now, the inventor of this invention we call relaxers may have thought, he was helping the Black community with his hair invention. And although he meant no harm, he created something more than what drugs can addict you to. The real addiction for Black people during those times and even these times was the creamy crack. And although he specialized in the first chemical relaxers, it may not have been as poisonous as it is now. And this is in my opinion because of things that, you see go on from that stems from back in the days, and how it is now, it's worse. So being that, it's not as poisonous as it is now, right? There were people that came in after him trying to perfect the product. Now, somebody's always trying to come in after and try to perfect things, right? I'm sure they added other ingredients that can cause more harm than good. Now, don't get me wrong. He did have lye ingredients in his initial product, but I'm certain that this was not as strong as the more modern versions that are used now. So that's where I can see the difference. Now, the man that I'm referring to, his name is Garrett Augustus Morgan. Now, Garrett was a multi-business owner. He was an African-American who's also known for inventing the concept of the traffic signal. Now, the traffic signal when you drive in red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, that thing. Now, this was an invention that would allow us to drive in a more organized and safer fashion. And although his fight against prejudice to make our country more equal, he allowed us to bow down to the fact that our hair was not good enough against the white Americans, Europeans, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion. Oh yeah, I do applaud him for his efforts and what he did for Black Americans. That will go without saying. However, I'm against the fact that there was a feeling that we were not enough the way we were naturally. Now, I'm sure he would say that, relaxing the hair with chemicals was an option for Black people to have more flexibility and styling options when it came to the hair. Now, guess what, sis? We didn't. Relaxes limited style flexibility because all we had on top of our scalp, on top of our head, was straight hair strands that made our hair thinner than what it was. Now, a ponytail was not an option for most people. I've seen TWAs with perms. I've seen even long hair ponytails with perms that were really thin and it just didn't look right. Right? But listen, here's the kicker, because before I even tell you the kicker, the only real option we had for that straight hair to make it look like something was curling it. That was the best thing. But now here's the kicker. You straighten your hair with chemicals to curl it. When your own hair has its own natural curl game, I guess I get the part of manageability, because natural hair is pretty hard to manage on its own, but it takes time, just like anything else. And a time we did not want to take, so we took the easier route. Right? And doing this, can just like not get it to where you want it to get it. Okay? So cool. Let's make it right. I feel we got this, yo. I really do. And I look back now and I wish I never had scabs. I've never had redness, dandruff. Let's talk about the dandruff. I'm not really sure how much the relaxer affected me having dandruff, but all I know is that I had dandruff through my entire time than I do now. So it could be product. It could be a combination of things. But yeah, I was dandruff prone. But those are what seem like small things then that can turn your entire world upside down in your future, because now it's been found that results like these allow the relaxer chemicals to seep into your body and cause that deadly disease we all know as cancer. Now, nobody wants to be in that lineup. Fucking cancer. I hate you with a passion. Damn. This is like very sensitive topic to me, and I'm sure to others too, maybe because they've experienced personally or family member, in my case, a family member, but I hate fucking cancer. So let's work on ourselves and be better for ourselves. We all have the information. It's out there, and let's figure out who we're doing this for. Because for me, I'm going to keep it 100 with you, because I know for a fact I was not the only one in this position. Not only would I be ashamed of going outside natural, because I never wore my natural tresses outside before I embraced my natural hair, but it was also to appease others, mainly the male species. Or if I was in a relationship, I felt like natural hair wasn't pretty enough to have a boyfriend. I felt if I had either relaxed or weaved hair, that's when I would feel most comfortable about being around him, because I thought he would feel the same way. Confidence was key for me in being around my boyfriend during those times, and my friends, because they would also have their hair done too. And as we called it back in the days, they would also have their wig flipped, even though we wasn't wearing a wig, but that was just a slang. So it was easier to be confident. So imagine if we were taught to grow into our own natural hair and find ways to be confident with that. I know it was hard, and it was always society that put us down and told us we would never get anywhere with wearing our hair like that. I get it. I fucking get it. And I want to hold people accountable for that, because if it wasn't for inventors like Garrett, they would have never had the opportunity to see our hair in a relaxed state, to even make those statements. And the white man believed that we wouldn't amount to anything by just being ourselves. We were natural by nature. And if going against nature and risking your life in the process was the only way, then shame on them for legalizing their thought process, because they could, and they still can. It's sad that we have to come up with causes that support us for being who we are, natural, because the entire country is not on board, because they are living limited beliefs as well as living in the past and not moving up to the modern way of thinking because of the learning opportunities we have had. And one of those causes that I speak about is called the Crown Act. And maybe I shouldn't say one of those. I'm only familiar with the Crown Act when it comes to the natural hair. And if you're an avid listener of this podcast, you would have heard me mention this a couple of times in the past. Now, the Crown Act, which stands for creating, I want to say this, and I want to be clear. I want you to listen to every word, and I want your thought process to kind of stay focused on that. Crown Act means creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. Those are what the crown letters mean. CROWN. And it's a law that prohibits race-based hair discrimination, which is the denial of employment and educational opportunities because of texture or protective styles, including braids, locks, twists, bantu knots. Okay. Seriously? We have to have something in place to resurrect or even be one of our culture? You take that away from us? It seems like the enactment of the Crown Act in June of 2019 would have been the greatest decision for everyone to agree upon, since it's our natural being, right? But we still have 31 more states to sign this bill in order for us to be who we are. Why? It should be so simple. Like, so many states are not on board because it's about creating a respectful, open world for Black men and women to use their own natural hair to express their culture by wearing their natural textures and protective styles. It's sad for me. There's no celebration here because 19 states are on board. That does nothing for me and this movement. And I want to be clear that it's not fair. Nobody can come to me and say, hey, Lisa E., we got 19 states signed. Woohoo! What will get me orgasmic is when all 50 states jump on board. Okay? Hey, sis, I had fun rocking it out with you today. The subject of hair racism is a very sensitive subject for me, as you can probably see. But I still like to share the knowledge on items I speak about as it relates to the specific topic. And this one did. So, if you want to be a guest on the show, each guest that interviews on the show will get to choose one of the Natural Born Sistah t-shirts to their liking and the opportunity to explain why they chose that tee. Women who interview as a guest on the show gain a sense of confidence. Telling your stories to others is like a release method that allows you to get it out and share things about your hair that may have never been shared by you before. Past guests have had different attitudes about their hair after sharing their story. Their confidence level has risen and what they've gained is amazing, and their attitudes have changed. And you can definitely see the differences after doing the show. Very positive differences, I may add. It's amazing what Kinky in the Kitchen does for our guests, and you too can gain the confidence by telling your story. And if you're already confident, imagine what this release can do for you. It would be twofold. And I would love for you to either come on the show and share your story or talk with me one-on-one so we can come to a solution for you regarding your natural hair journey. And I'm talking to sisters one-on-one sessions to help them identify the next steps to either embrace their hair or start their natural hair journey. Now, right now is a more important time for us as a culture, Black women, for us to show them who we are and who we are not afraid to be who we are. And our time together is to be able to take you to the next level and coming out natural in your hair journey with confidence. Now, these steps I will present will be a personalized session to you to be your own hair boss. Our conversations are friendly based, just like a close sister with high level results. And I will make you the most comfortable so that you may get the best help, as this allows you to be honest about your hair, your journey. Just email me at naturalbornsistah@gmail.com. Sister is with an AH at the end. I have to make sure I say that. Put confidence in the subject line to let me know your hair issues and reservations in the body of the email. So I need to know if you're a good fit. And if you are, I will send you a calendar to schedule your free 30-minute session to sit with me. And I will upgrade you to the next level. Some are still going through it because they refuse to help. Because it can be reversed. And they may not know it can. So spread the word, sis. Hey, sis. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, Kinky in the Kitchen is rocking on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel so that you can see our well-liked intro and outro videos on every show. And you know I'm always rocking the Natural Born Sistah tee and the one with the logo on it, because there's two. And I always say the Natural Born Sistah tee with logo, but I never mention that there's one without. So I always rock the one with the logo. And don't forget, get you one, sis. And remember, we're bringing you kinky content in the kitchen every Wednesday on your favorite cast. Gotta go.
That's all for today. What feelings are you left with? Do you have questions? Thoughts? DM on IG at Natural Born Sistah and let's talk about it. Oh, and don't forget to leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. They really help us grow and reach more women who need company on their hair journey. We'll chat it up next week.